Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All righty, welcome into a special edition of the JP Peterson Show here after the Bucs take a horrific loss, 30-24, to the Kansas City Chiefs in a game. We've said this a few weeks in a row that, quite frankly, they should have won. Thank you so much for joining us here. We're going to have a lot of guests stopping in here, fans coming in. We'll have some Nick Geddes is going to join us. Timmy Ham may stop by as well. We appreciate you guys to go ahead and put your comments up in the comments section. I think it's already lighting up. Wow, that was a tough one to handle if you're a Buccaneer fan, because so much of what happened in that game goes on to the coaching staff, and we'll get into all that. Jason Powers is going to join me here in just a little bit. I'll pop him in, but just a couple opening thoughts. First of all, I thought the Bucs played one hell of a football game, man. Down 3 receivers to a very good Chiefs defense. They did a lot of what they wanted to do, especially in a couple of those drives in the second half. The drive to start the second half was an absolute virtuoso by Baker Mayfield. I thought Baker played one hell of a football game today. He took some shots, escaped a lot of bad situations to make plays. That final drive to tie things up was a work of art. Some of those passes were right on the target, and the ones that weren't, Sterling Shepard was fantastic. But folks, and we'll get into all the specifics of it. Third down was a killer tonight. And that's, we talked about this on the show before earlier today, that this is going to be a coaching matchup tonight that doesn't really favor the Buccaneers. You look at Andy Reid's the best in the game in calling plays offensively, and Spags is, I would say, best in the league in calling games defensively. And that showed on third down tonight big time. And especially Andy Reid versus Todd Bowles on third down was a mismatch. 12 for 18, all 4 of their touchdowns coming on third downs. D-Hop with a couple of scores that were just way too easy, toasting Josh Hayes. And then at the end of the game, the management to use the timeout there at 30 seconds and to not to run it down to the bone to make sure Mahomes didn't get it. It was just by the grace of God they don't get the field goal at the end to win it. Butker with 62-yard range. All they got to do is get 2 first downs. You leave them 26 seconds to do so, and a timeout. They're lucky they didn't lose the game there. And then at the end, you got to go for 2. I just looked it up. I said, this defense is gas. I wonder how many plays they played. 83 plays. I think the Bucs had 63, which is a normal game. 83 plays. Your defense is gassed. You can't go to overtime. It is not an option. If you lose the toss, you lose the game. One play. Make it happen. And I don't want to hear this, if they don't make it, everybody's ripping bowls. Nope, I'm not. Troy Aikman's like, I go for 2. Everybody is going for 2. We were saying it on Twitter as they were driving down the field. You got to go for 2. Have your best 2-point play ready because you're going for 2. You got to go for 2. You're on the road. Your team is reeling. It's fought back. One play, I'll take it. You lose the toss, you lose the game. It's over. Unconscionable. Given the 2 injuries to Godwin and Evans, which I put squarely on the head coach, and then this malfeasance of game management once again, it's mind-blowing. I'm going to get a lot of different opinions in here tonight, so I'll bring in my good buddy Jason Powers here from Press Box Radio. You see him on Spectrum 360 as well. What's up, Jason? How are you, partner?
What's going on, JP? Tough one, man.
What are your thoughts on the end of game?
I'm with you. It was a terrible timeout at 30 seconds. You have to milk that to 20. That way you have 4 plays no matter what happens, you either tie, win, or lose. And like you said, had the Bucs given up a field goal on that last drive, I mean, that's almost a fireable offense by the mismanagement of the clock there. And I'm with you. There wouldn't have been a person in America that would have complained if they go for 2 and don't make it. Not a person.
Yeah. Yeah, and the third downs, just constantly finding guys wide open. I mean, Todd Bowles is supposed to be a defensive genius, and these are the matchups that you're trying to win in the key spots in the games. And Mahomes just absolutely owned his ass. And look, he's the best in the game. I get it, but 12 for 18. I mean, 4 touchdowns on third down. Come on.
And what is KJ Britt doing in the game in overtime? Trying to match up with Kelsey? Really? I mean, why aren't you playing 6 DBs in overtime? If they run the ball down your throat, which they're not going to do, that's not their MO, put every DB you have on the roster in the game and figure out a way to try to match it up, because you cannot have KJ Britt in the game in overtime. In pass coverage,
they were running the football in overtime, but, and I do think you have to. I don't know if you go dime there because they will.
But you know what I mean, though. But you know what I mean. Get Britt out of the game, man. He cannot be in the game in pass coverage.
Oh, I totally agree. Get him off the field in general. I didn't see if Vi Jones played tonight. I know he was elevated, but why elevate him if you're not going to play him? To go back and check the tape, but third down was a disaster tonight. The Chiefs owned it, and I don't want to miss the positives here, though, Jason. I thought Baker was fantastic in this game. 3 of 30, 183 yards. The only thing I would say, and this goes on Liam Cohen more, is as easy as they went down the field with throwing to the wide receivers and the deeper out cuts, those were open and great throws by Baker, and the guys made some great catches. I was very impressed with Sterling Shepard this week. He has not been good. He was very impressive tonight. Ryan Miller catches the touchdown. He had a big opportunity to get a first down late in the game, and he just doesn't sit down where you got to sit down. Don't run into coverage, son. Don't run into coverage. What are you doing?
Right.
Sit down and catch the damn ball.
And by the way, how good is – and we're seeing this now. Cade Otton can be a hell of a weapon for this team in years to come. This guy's really shown he can be a legit – big-time top 7 or 8 tight end in the NFL, I think.
I called him top 5 tight end in the NFL on Twitter. Got some crap for that. But I some of these older guys like Kelsey and Kittle and Andrews are going away. The next 2 years, he's going to be a top 5 tight end. His physicality that he's gained in the last 3 years, I mean, he got here, he was kind of spindly, couldn't block worth a lick. He's put on a good 25 pounds, hasn't lost a step. Great hands, and he catches the ball in traffic and takes shots. He's taken a bunch of – Baker Mayfield has hung him out to dry more than once, but he's coming down with the ball. But, Baker's got to throw it, because what other options does he have? I don't think Sean Tucker got enough touches tonight.
Right.
Although I thought the offense was good. I thought against the Chiefs to put up 24 points – that should have been good enough to win, and put up 25 and you win the freaking game, man. Win the freaking game.
And here's the other thing about that. If you're the Buccaneers, you're on a short week with the Niners. If you could split these 2 games, you only got 6 days to prepare. Why be on the field another 8-10 minutes, another 9 or 10 plays on defense? You got to go for the win here. If you'd have won this game tonight, you're almost assured to make the playoffs if you win the game tonight. And you had your chance, one chance. How many more times do we have to see Mahomes with the ball in overtime? How many more times before? And Todd Bowles is, in theory, an analytics guy. Go for the win.
Well, I guess analytics might tell you there to play for overtime, but that's sterile numbers that did not see his defense with a heroic 83. I guess by that time, I don't know how many plays in overtime, so – At that point, they probably were at 75.
75? Yeah.
But that's still – and that's a hard 75 with Mahomes running around, physical
wet
game.
Conditions, wet weather.
That makes it even more tiring on your legs.
Yep.
And these are the things that analytics obviously don't know because they're cold numbers based on, lots of data. But this is where the head coach has to come in with his eyes. If you didn't know your defense was gassed, I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know what you're thinking. It's obvious. And you just came down the field. You've got the momentum. The Chiefs are on their heels. You just scored a touchdown with a wide open receiver. Have a play coming off that. You've got a great 2-point play in your bag. I know Liam Cohen does. The backside tight end drag works every freaking time, by the way. You got that play in your bag. Freaking use it. Let's go.
You had them on the ropes, and here's the one good underlying good thing for the Buccaneers is and again, no moral victories here, but you can say everybody around the league, they beat the Lions, they beat the Eagles, they beat Washington, and they took the world champions to overtime in their building without their two best wide receivers. So say what you want about the Buccaneers nationally. This team can beat anybody in the NFC. I'm convinced of that.
Yeah, I think that's the underlying theme here, Jason, did I think they were going to get curb stomped tonight? I thought there was a good chance of it because the defense has just been so bad, and offensively they were so depleted, and the Chiefs just really play well at home, and especially their defense. Everything was going against them, and they showed me that they got some grit and some fight. They were fantastic. Yep. I'm very impressed with this team, and I just think it's very obvious to me, Jason. And I'm a huge Todd Bowles fan as a human. Love the dude. Really pushing for him. He's hurting this team. He's hurting this team badly. The decisions on the wide receivers are criminal. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin should still be playing. And with those guys tonight, they win
the football game.
The Bucs
they win the football game.
Going away. Okay. And they win last week as well. And they win last week. No question in my mind. They win last week. And they win a lot more games down the stretch, and you don't have those guys. And Mike hopefully will return, but we'll see. I think Todd Bowles is really holding this team back big time. And if he goes through the season, and even if they make the playoffs as a wild card, we got to see what happens. But this guy's got a ceiling. He cannot manage games. He doesn't see what's going on in front of him because he's too busy calling defensive plays. I just think in this day and age, it's too hard for a head coach to do it. There's too much to do.
And we'll never know because we don't hear what they say on the headsets. But was Liam Cohen begging to go for two? Was that brought up? Was it discussed?
He was.
What was the chatter on that last drive? Did Bowles say? We'll never know, but Liam Cohen wanted to go for two. And here's one thing I would say, JP, on this flight home tonight, is Jason Light going to make a move tomorrow? The trade deadline's tomorrow. Do you trade for somebody on defense, corner, defensive lineman, linebacker? Because again, if you I
don't know who that guy is, Jason, but there is a inside linebacker who's been in this league for 4 or 5 years, a Van Ginkel type guy. That's on the last year of his contract. He's a good tackler, is a team captain, a team leader, and isn't a superstar. But he's a gritty, average middle linebacker that can cover and make plays and can be a leader for your defense because I think they're lacking some leadership on defense right now. And is a dog. I'd like to see some dog mentality in him. That guy's out there. And if they want a third-round pick for him, I'm here to give it up. This team is too good. This team is too good. The schedule is too soft down the stretch. You got to make some moves. And look at what an experienced wide receiver has done for the Kansas City Chiefs. D-Hop owned it tonight. He owned it tonight. We could have had him for what, a fourth round?
Here's a name I talked about tonight with some guys watching the game, and they probably won't do it because they think they're still in it. Do you make a call to the Cincinnati Bengals for T. Higgins tomorrow for a third-round pick? Free agent to be. They're not re-signing him in Cincinnati.
No, they're not re-signing him. No.
Third-round pick. Would you put T. Higgins in the lineup opposite Mike Evans for the last 7-8 games?
Hell yes.
Hell yeah.
And I know
go try to outscore people
well tonight, but you need an experienced guy back there.
All right,
Jason, that's a good call. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate
you got it, buddy.
Here. Thanks, Ian.
All right, buddy. See you.
Drive safe. Know you had a few pops. All right, the Bucs lose 30-24 in overtime. Nick Geddes joining me now after his on-3 shift. And, dude, I've said my piece here on Todd Bowles. I'll give you the floor. Get it off your chest.
I'm so happy that you offered me to come on tonight because after what we watched tonight, there's just no way I could keep it in. I can't go to sleep. I got work at 8 a.m. and I can't sleep. I'm over it. I'm disgusted with Todd Bowles tonight. I think all of Bucs Nation has to be. I'm sure you are as well. What we saw on that night or on that field tonight is it's cowardness. It's gutless. I'll use that word. It's gutless coaching. If I'm pulling that word out, I mean, and I probably could have used it for a couple other decisions that Todd has made in his time here as the Buccaneers head coach. But this is getting silly. your defense finally makes a stop there late when you absolutely needed it after they just completely rolled over and died for 2 straight drives that went for like 40 plays combined or whatever it was.
You're gassed. You
They're
can't play
gassed.
overtime.
And then your offense comes back, and I got to admit, when they got the ball back with 2 and change, I was like, I've seen this story before. Baker's gonna try to throw a ball into a tight window, and it's gonna get picked off, and that's how it's gonna end. But no, Baker has this great drive where he's connecting with Sterling Shepard. 31-year-old Sterling Shepard is making plays like I've never seen him make
360
before.
catches.
Yeah, he's making incredible catches. They're moving the chains. They even had to fight through the fact that they had the Chiefs defense reeling, and then we have to take 30 minutes to figure out that an obvious catch was a catch. So now the Chiefs get to catch their breath.
I thought they were going to overturn that. I thought that was going to
Exactly.
be the Tay call of the night.
So you fight through that, makes a great throw to Trey Palmer, and then Ryan Miller, of all people, catches the easiest touchdown pass he'll ever catch in his life, probably. And it's like at that point, everybody watching this game tonight, there's probably at least 20 million people watching this game tonight on Monday Night Football. Yep. Everybody knew the call in that situation was to go for the win. You are the inferior team. You're playing the 3-time Super Bowl champion, the dynasty that they are, in their building. You go for 2. If you don't get it, you don't get it. But
How
at least
tight is the
you went for
of
it.
the Chiefs at that point? They're on their heels. They're like, oh, crap, they're going to go for 2. When they sent out the kicker, who do you think had the biggest sigh of relief? The Chiefs defense. And that tells you, and that's like when you take out Blake Snell. When the other team's happy, you fucked up.
Yes, this was the and the sad part is, JP,
you let him off the hook.
Yeah, you let him off the hook, but the sad part is I don't even think Todd Bowles was even considering it. This is just who Todd Bowles is.
Yeah, you're right, because there was no, they didn't have any sideline shots or anything like that. But, that discussion has to be going on as the drive is going on.
And it's like the strength of this team, even with all the injuries, is the offense, and particularly the offensive play caller and Liam Cohen, who I thought did a tremendous job tonight.
He was so good
with the stuff he did. It's like, who do you want to trust? Do you want to trust that offense to pick up 2 yards and have a nice creative play call where they were absolutely rolling? Or do you want to take the chance where you probably are going to lose the coin toss because, shocker, the Chiefs never lose the coin toss when we go to overtime, and your defense is now going to have to go back out there after they've been out there for 80 plays against the best quarterback in the freaking world, who is now 6-0 in overtime in the regular season. Like, does none of this ever cross Todd Bowles' mind in that moment? I know what I just said is kind of a lot, but I'm not paid millions of dollars to make those decisions. Now, am I? So, like, we all knew it was coming. When they lost the coin toss, Baker looked up to the heavens because he chose tails and he should have picked heads, but whatever. It's 50-50. Always pick heads. And then in overtime, we all knew it was coming. It was slow. It was methodical. The Bucs are playing 10 yards off the ball.
The toss.
It was over.
The defense is gassed. There's no way they're going to – all he's going to do is just hand the ball off and throw short passes. You can't – it's just so obvious. It's so obvious. I think Todd Bowles sealed his fate tonight. If I'm a Glazer watching that game, first of all, I'm on the hotline during the final drive and say, you tell him to go for 2. This is coming from the top. This is coming from the top.
Literally, Ryan Fitzpatrick tweeted right before the Bucs scored, if they score, Todd's definitely not going for 2. Ryan Fitzpatrick tweeted that. Yes, they all knew it. Everybody knows it, that Todd Bowles was never going for 2 in that situation, and that's the part that stings the most. It was never under consideration with this head coach, and I'm telling you, it's gutless.
So let's count the reasons. First and foremost, your defense is gassed. And this is the problem I have so much with Todd Bowles. Sometimes he just says, well, the players should make it happen. I'm making the right calls. It's they're not communicating correctly, or they're not concentrating. No, Todd, you're making the wrong calls, and you're not managing the game well. You're not putting your team in the best position to win, and you're hurting your team. This team, the effort that this team put in and has put into that Atlanta game on the road on the short week, deserve to win that game. By the way, the officials again tonight were awful.
Terrible.
At one point, it was 7 penalties to 3, and every one of the Bucs the face mask. You miss a face mask on Bucky Irving. That's as obvious. I don't think I've ever seen, maybe the Sam Darnold one in the end zone when a quarterback has the football and his face gets raked, and eight freaking officials can't see that, and it's not even in a pile. Bucky Irving's running through a 4-yard wide hole. There's nobody in it but him, and an arm comes out from a linebacker who grabs his face mask and pulls him down. He's not in a pile where you might miss it. He's in a wide open gaping hole, and he gets dragged down by the face mask, and 8 referees don't see that. Cost them the football game.
Well, even at the end, even at the end,
Tristan Wirfs gets a face mask, an offensive tackle face mask call. Are you effing kidding me?
Yeah, if anything, it was
the Chiefs.
If anything, that was a hold, but they call it a face mask. But even then, it was a 5-yard difference, which could make all the world. But on the throw to set up the Kareem Hunt touchdown too. I don't know if you saw the replay on this one. Right tackle clearly false start.
Oh, Juwan John, yeah,
clearly false start, not
clearly
called. And we said that this morning. Like the Chiefs do that all the time and don't get called for it. Right on it.
You nailed it.
Don't get called. And by the way, to go back to that decision,
and how huge is that call? That goes from 3rd and 1 to 3rd and 6.
Exactly. Now, are the Bucs really gonna make that stop? Probably not. But again, bad officiating. But to go back to the decision not to go for it, if you think I'm full of crap when I say that Todd Bowles probably didn't give any thought, I just combed through Twitter. Greg Auman just put up Todd Bowles' video of what he was saying about that. He said he gave very minor thought to going for 2 after the late touchdown and cited the wet field conditions. The same wet field conditions that they just drove 10 plays, 75 yards to get into the end zone.
Nick.
What?
Are the Bucs the only team playing on the wet field? What does that even mean? It's the same for both teams. Defensive players can slip too. Oh my God.
I don't even know how to I don't even know how to respond to that.
That's just logically idiot. I don't even know what to call that. That's so stupid. So it's a wet ball, so you can't throw it as well.
Wait, and by the way, citing wet field conditions, who's to say that kicking a 35-yard field goal or extra point is any better?
Right. Great point. But first of all, it starts and ends with the fact that your defense is gassed. But that's number one. Number two, you have the momentum. You're on the road, as you mentioned, an inferior team. You've just scored a touchdown. You're running the ball great, so you can either go run or pass. It's not one, and you've got a 2-point play that you really, really like. And I trust Liam Cohen to have a really, really good 2-point play. And dadgummit, just put it in your players' hands and let them. Look how good Baker was on that drive.
Yes,
look how good he was on that drive.
They were rolling in here. How about this one? I'm continuing to go through Twitter for some reaction. Andy Reid asked if he was surprised by the decision. No, but I'm glad he didn't. Andy Reid knew. He knew. The Bucs were probably going to have a really good play schemed up and ready to go to at least give you a shot. And again, even if they don't get it for 2, are we really going to come on this show and then go, well, you should have kicked the extra point?
Hell
no. It's just bad process. It's bad process. And I'm over it because the Bucs, this is the best offense I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have ever put together in their 50 years of history, other than the Tom Brady years. Correct?
Yep, I agree.
You probably say that. And they're wasting it. They are wasting it.
Even without their top 3 receivers.
Even without their top 3 receivers. And most of this game today, they had like 2 combined catches from actual receivers for a large part of it. Even through all that, you still were tied with the freaking Kansas City Chiefs with 27 seconds left to go. They're wasting the best offense they've had without Tom Brady in the history of the franchise.
I just, there's a lot of season left. And this team is good enough to beat the 49ers next week. There's no question about that. This team is good enough to win 6 of their final 7 games. I don't think there's any question about that. I thought the defense played better tonight in spots. They had a couple opportunities to get turnovers. I think they only got one, right? That was the strip of Kelsey from Antoine Winfield Jr. and a great play by Josh Hayes to rip that ball away from Kelsey at the bottom of the pile. But you probably could have had 3 or 4 more. Tips and overthrows, as Sal Palantonio said today. Tips and overthrows.
He was begging to throw you one there on that last drive before overtime.
God. Yes, he was. And Winfield read that one slant that D-Hop did not read. That could have been could have been pick 6. But it's not. It's not. And here we sit with 3 close games that I think every one of them mismanaged by Todd Bowles in terms of time and game management. Every single one of them that you could have won, that you could have and should have won. And we continue to talk about this time and time again. I said this before the season start, and I think it's borne out, especially tonight. I said, I love the chemistry of this team. I think they can be a really good defense. I've been wrong on that, although they were good in the beginning. They were really good in the beginning. And then
they showed who they really are. They showed who they really are in the second half. They showed who they are because all of a sudden Kansas City started running the ball down their throat. It was easy. Kareem Hunt was doing nothing in the first half. Yeah. And then the second half immediately took over the game. The middle of the field is still wide. The middle of the field is still just, it's easy pickings for everybody. What was the third down tonight? 12 of 18 on third down.
All 4 touchdowns on third down.
You forced 18 third downs tonight for Kansas City.
And plenty of third and longs. It wasn't like the usual Kansas City. Yeah, there were a few 3rd and 4s, 3rd and 6s, but there were a few 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 12s too that they picked up, which is no good. And I said, this is going to be a game of coaching matchups, and I said the Chiefs have the matchup here. Andy versus Todd. That's an Andy, and Spags versus Liam. With all due respect to Liam. He's not going to get the nod there.
But Liam held his own today better than any other offense has against the Chiefs. Yeah. But to your point about the matchups, one of the problems I feel like I see with this defense is you hear Todd say it a lot. We like our guys. We like our guys. I need you to like your guys a little bit less. And I need you to understand that some of these guys are just inferior to the competition.
Right.
I bring that up because Josh Hayes being in single coverage against DeAndre Hopkins late in the football game with 0 help is a freaking joke. It's a joke.
Well,
why?
And one of the staples, he needs a safety help on that. Bracket D-Hop, absolutely. And you're not going to bracket him, and it's something that Bowles doesn't like to do, and I don't know why. And especially now that you have one corner, Zion McCollum, who's so much better than your second corner. Like the difference is off the charts. But he never travels with the best receiver. He never does that. I think that's a flaw in the defense. I think it's a flaw in the defense. When you can stick Zion McCollum on, I know this, he's not going to give up that easy slant for the touchdown. My Lord, how easy was that?
I mean, that's easy. And then on the last drive of the game, they're playing like 10 yards off the ball. Yeah. And he throws a quick out route to DeAndre Hopkins. And guess what? Hayes comes in with poor technique because the Bucs have to be the worst tackling team in the league, probably not named Carolina. And he comes in like a bat out of hell. DeAndre Hopkins, a veteran receiver, what does he do? He baits him into it and then runs up the field for 10 more yards.
Yeah, as of last week, I saw a stat where the Bucs were the second worst tackling team on I believe it was on running backs or maybe in wide receivers, but they were the second worst tackling team, missed tackles. Not a shock from a numerical standpoint. Yeah, I think this is the night, and it depends on how this season goes. And I think there's a lot of football left. They still can make the playoffs, but when the Glazers do their final evaluations of whatever this season is, even if it's a playoff season, I think they have to come to the conclusion that last year was Todd's ceiling, and this year, and this is the ceiling. He's never going to be that guy that's going to outcoach the elite coaches. Or outmanage them. This team should have at least 2 more wins, at least 2, probably 3, and then look at your record. So you sit here at 4-5, you could easily be 6-3 or 7-2, easily. This team's good. They got a lot going for them, and Todd Bowles has cost them this season with his handling of the 2 wide receivers, in my opinion. And then this tonight, just unacceptable.
It's unforgivable. It's
Unacceptable.
unforgivable. And how much longer can you take this? And again, the more Liam Cohen continues to put up masterful performances from a schematic standpoint offensively, the more I just have to sit there and go, how in the world can you let that guy get out the building regardless of what happens? You cannot. You cannot do it. Sorry.
And if it takes, hey, you're the new head coach, so be it. So be it. We love Todd. He'll be well compensated, but these are just, these are mistakes that you can't make. You just can't make as a head coach. Your coach should never be costing you games. Your coach should be the reason you win games. The coaching decisions should never cost you games, especially some that are this obvious. They're obvious to everyone. Gutless is a real personal attack, but it may be warranted. And I know you're not saying Todd's gutless.
I'm not saying he's gutless. I'm saying that the call is gutless.
The call is gutless. Yes,
the call is gutless in that situation, in my opinion.
It is. It is. And if you poll the players, especially on defense, what do you think that vote's going to be? Unanimous. It's
silly. It's silly.
It's almost. And if you're a defensive player, do you just sit there and go for two? Oh my God, no, he's not. Oh,
no, you think any of them? You think any of those guys wanted the smoke?
No,
in the overtime.
No,
I mean, we talked about it today.
I don't blame that defense one bit.
Exactly.
The entire second half. I mean, they had 3 long drives in the first half. And part of that is also safe coaching. When we're going to play safe. We're not going to, hug him up. We're not going to, I don't think he was very aggressive in his blitzes. And you saw, by the way, Spags came up with some really well-timed blitzes and super and well executed on Baker. Never had a chance. He waits and uses them right at the right time. And, Bowles he's a very blitz heavy guy, but his blitzes aren't effective. His blitzes aren't good. If you're blitzing and you're not getting there, they're not, you're just leaving yourself open on the back end. You never want to be open.
And again, I saw some people saying tonight that, the defensive line gave the Bucs defense a chance tonight. And they had some nice moments early in the game, but it was all Vita Vea. And then Kalijah Kancey did a really good job.
He played a lot tonight.
And as he should. You're paying him a lot of money. He should stay in the game for most of it. But
I think that was a bit of a philosophical change for Bowles, and I liked it. That was something he did right.
But is it a good sign, JP, that at this point in the season, Vita Vea has 5 sacks and JTS, Yaya Diaby, and Anthony Nelson have 5 combined?
Awful.
It's the same.
Kancey was good tonight. Kancey really good tonight.
Kancey made a damn good play there when Mahomes was going to scramble for a first down on that play. Yeah, there was nobody there in the flat.
He's going to go over his 18-yard rushing and cash my parlay too. Son of a bitch. Thanks, Kancey. You owe me.
Oh, so it was just a bad night in general for you, clearly.
Well, I went heavy on Sean Tucker over 5.5 yards rushing. That was the gimme of the night. So I went heavy on that. I paid for the rest of my parlays.
Yeah, I'm glad Sean Tucker finally got in the game in the third quarter, and wouldn't you know, good things happen. I'm glad that happened.
Yeah, he's got to get. But the offense wasn't the problem.
Yeah, I'd be nitpicking at stuff like that. You score 24 against Steve Spagnuolo's defense on the road. I mean, you got to take your chances.
Got to win that game. Got to win that
right
game.
There. This was the Billy Napier moment. This was Billy Napier against Tennessee deciding to go for an extra point on the road against a much better team and go to play overtime. And you saw how that ended. This was the same thing that happened tonight. You just changed the uniforms and you changed the parties involved.
Awful. Speaking of Billy Napier, by the way, news yesterday that DJ Lagway's injury is not as serious as they once thought, which tells me Florida State is only going to win 2 games this year. Florida
State's basketball team now has the same amount of wins in November as the football team. By the way, shout out to my UCF Knights beating number 13 Texas A&M today, storming the court.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, Texas A&M got their field stormed twice this week. South Carolina on Saturday and Monday against UCF. So bad week for the Aggies. But so that provided me some fun tonight. When I saw that JP happen, I said, I'm like, this is the night. This is the night. UCF just knocked off number 13. It's the night of upsets. The Bucks had just taken like a 14-10 lead when that happened, and I'm like, this is the night. And
did UCF beat Florida? They were up at half.
USF, you mean?
USF, yeah.
I think Florida ended up pulling that one out, but it was close for a while.
Well, Florida State beat Kentucky tonight in basketball, 74-62.
You might want to check
Northern.
that. Yeah, I was going to say they did not beat the real Kentucky. No way.
They beat Northern Kentucky. I'll take it. I'll take it, dub. Any way I can get it. Any way I get it. So, yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I'm going to get to the comments too. I'm going to hit a break. Let's hit a break, and then we'll come back and do the comments. Nick, if you want to stick around, feel free. If not, I know you got to get up early. So,
I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping.
You probably aren't, are you?
No,
I don't think many Buck fans are going to sleep. And I'm going to get to all the comments here because they are exceptional. All right, we'll do a quick break here. Come back on the other side, and we'll get to all of your great comments. Stay with us. We've had a lot of fun with the monthly birthstones, and October is no different, where the birthstones are opal and tourmaline. All the colors of the evening sky are captured in the mysterious shifting hues of opal, and tourmaline has a color palette for every mood. Did you know that opals have been cherished for centuries, associated with royalty and good fortune? Tourmaline was once thought to protect against evil and enhance spiritual connection, adding to its allure. And during the 40th anniversary, you could find a special selection of this precious gemstone, from stunning rings and necklaces to elegant earrings and bracelets. Of course, Steve Weintraub handpicks every piece for its brilliance and quality. The expert staff will help you find the perfect gift, whether it's for a loved one, a special occasion, or a treat for yourself. Visit the Gold and Diamond Source today, where you'll always find the perfect gift. It's more than jewelry, it's love. Hey, it's football season, so we welcome back the FSU Football Report every Monday and Friday on the JP Peterson Show, sponsored by those huge FSU fans at Italiano Insurance. They'll save you money as well. Just do a quick insurance checkup, 813-877-7799. They just saved me $500 on homeowners insurance. Who's doing that? Yeah, they just shopped it around, found a better, cheaper company, and we got a cheaper price. And business insurance, make sure you're covered or you could lose your personal wealth. That's 813-877-7799. ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Noles.
Hey Tampa Bay sports fans, this is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the US Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right. That's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Geddes Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
JP here for Third Generation AC and Plumbing. And Third Generation really says it all, folks. The owner, my friend John Rodriguez, has been in the AC and plumbing business since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Simple, right? Did you know many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units, and you might just need a drain cleared? So if you want someone you can trust, that's John Rodriguez and Third Generation Services. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 and a human will answer the phone. That's 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Tarpon Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, special edition post game, and we'll also get into some other interesting things that happened in the Tampa Bay sports world yesterday. Some basketball to talk about, some lightning to talk about, and as we mentioned, DJ Lagway looks like he might be available this week against Texas. Well, I might hold him out this week. There's a few other games that you might have a better opportunity to win, but we'll see what Florida does with that. Nick Geddes joining me here from On3 Sports. I do have the Bowls sound. It's courtesy of Pewter Report. And I believe this is about his decision to not go for two.
Very minor. We wanted to get it to overtime with the wet conditions on the field. We felt like we had to go in overtime instead of go for two. So we had our shots. We lost the game.
I don't know.
Okay. Minor thought given to going for two. Minor thought. That's damning, Nick. That's damning. And just the way he said it there was just like he wasn't convicted. Like, is there nobody else on the staff that can say, I thought they hired somebody for time management and game decision management? Is there nobody on the staff that's saying, Todd, we got to go for two here? And again, it's not a staff decision. That there has to be talking going on. If there's not a discussion about that, then something's wrong there. Just minor thought given. I mean, Twitter is ablaze.
That's what I'm saying. Like
wrote a big post about this. I mean, this is unconscionable.
Yeah, Aikman on the broadcast. Aikman on the broadcast knew it too. The entire time he was saying like, I would go for two. I'd go for two. And again, it's like, oh, Troy, if only it was ever under consideration. Like it never was.
The fact that Fitz put that out there beforehand was very telling.
And again, it would be one thing. I still would not make an excuse for it, but it'd be one thing if Todd Bowles had been like a first-year head coach going through this for the first time. This is now what, year 7, year 8 of him as a head coach, considering his time with New York. Like, it's not changing. It's not getting better. It's arguably getting worse.
And let me just put this to you. If Liam Cohen was the head coach, what do you think he would have done?
Oh, well, on one side of it, he's a Mark Stoops disciple. And on the other side of it, he spent a little time around Sean McVay. So maybe it's a 50-50 shot. I don't know.
I don't think it's a 50-50 shot. I'm thinking he's got a play ready to go and he wants to run it. Let's go to win the game. Bucks Basement says, fire Bowles. I've had it. His horrendous coaching has cost the Bucks 3 games. Enough of this BS of he's a good man. He's not going to get us to the promised land. Hold him accountable. We're holding him accountable. I just, I always have to put my disclaimer out there because I do like the dude and I think the world of him. But as a football coach, he's just, as I said before the season, he will hold this team back. I said this team is good offensively, defensively. I think they're good enough to make the playoffs, win the division, see what happens. I think they'll be much better offensively with Liam Cohen. This could be a really good football team. I said my biggest question mark on this team is the head coach, is the coaching of this team and how he will manage games. And I believe I was right. This is really, really holding them back. Yeezy says Baker put this freaking team on his back and Todd does this BS. I think in a lot of different ways, he lost some confidence of the players. And maybe there's a captain's meeting that goes on and says, look, Skip, you got to give us the ball. You got to let us in situations like that. You got to trust us.
And you want to know what else? This just came to my mind, JP. Todd Bowles coached the greatest of all time, Tom Brady, and was around him for 3 years. Played against him in New York 2 times a year. How in the world can you be around that guy who was Mahomes before Mahomes in these situations and see what it's like. Know that feeling of how it would give you as an opposing head coach, as an opposing team, or the feeling of joy that it would give you or that feeling of like warmth that like Tom Brady's gonna go out on the field here and do it. Remember the Buffalo game comes to mind. That's like the one overtime game that comes to mind to me in like that 2020 season or whatever it was, where you just knew Tom Brady's gonna go down the field and he's gonna get it done.
Harriman scores.
Yeah. It's like, how can you be around a guy like that who was doing this long before Mahomes was doing it, and then you feel comfortable giving the ball to Mahomes in that situation?
Remember the game? I can't remember the specific Scott. Oh, where's Scott Reynolds when I need him? He remembers these details. Like when Brady had the ball with a chance to win the game, about 35, 40 seconds left, and Bowles like told him to run the ball, and then he completes a long ball, and there's remember that game?
It was like Cleveland or something.
Yeah, and they lost the game, and he came and he was afraid he was going to throw an interception.
It was Cleveland. It was Cleveland, and Tom Brady had thrown like Tom Brady in that situation had thrown like 2 interceptions in his entire career.
I don't think he'd ever thrown an interception with less than 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. I don't think he ever I don't remember the exact one, but it was never.
It was Cleveland.
Like he had never thrown an interception. He said, "I didn't want to, so we shut it down." Remember that?
Yes.
Remember that?
I mean, it's coming right back to me. It was a mid-year game against the Browns.
James says, Bucks a head coach from being real good. Why go to OT? Also, refs blew this game too. Agree. Yeezy's on fire today. Missing wide receiver 1, 2, and 3. You don't go for 2. Well, that's probably a reason you wouldn't go for 2. But listen, you got more than enough weapons from the 2-yard line. You can run it. You can run it with Rashad. You can run it with Bucky. You can run it with Sean Tucker. You can.
Kate Otten was making plays all night.
Kate Otten making
Shepard's
plays.
Making plays.
Shepard's making. I mean,
and you got one of the most creative play callers in the league right now.
Yeah, and you got to play.
But no, I'd rather risk my 31st ranked defense in the NFL making a stop against Patrick Mahomes in overtime on the road. That sounds better to me.
And they've been on the field for 80 plays.
Yeah, that sounds better to me. Yep.
On a wet night.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ. Mike Holcomb, what's up, buddy? Todd, no balls, bowls. About says it. TJC 22, former quarterback. Is there not an advisor yelling in his ear, hey, Todd, we've played 73 defensive snaps thus far, most of which were just physical second half running? I mean, yes. Even if you didn't know the number, you could just look on the field and see the dudes are gassed. Come on, dog. Michael LaRue should have gone for 2. We can always rhyme with your name. I don't know what it is. TJC, except they were running it down their throat at that point. They were. I mean, again, the defense was gassed. There was no way. If you lose the toss, you're done. So basically, you're just saying, I'm going to take a 50-50. And if you win the toss, now Chiefs defense, it's not tired at home. Refs against you, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I just don't. Even if you get the ball, I mean, I know Baker just went down the field, so I feel if we get the ball, we got a shot. But to me, you got to make 10, 12 plays to win the game. I want to make one. That's all I want to do. I need one play, and I've got a good play. I don't know what it is, but I got a good play. James says Vi Jones played a couple plays. Bucks in third quarter were ready to dominate to score another touchdown, but refs called a face mask. Yeah, that one.
Oh, my goodness. Can I interrupt real quick?
Yes.
I hate to interrupt going through these great comments because y'all are bringing it tonight. But I'm going through Twitter. I'm just seeing all these different things. The Bucks this is unbelievable. Travis Kelce had 14 catches tonight. Did you know he just became the first 35-plus-year-old to have 14-plus catches at any position in the history of the NFL?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And by the way, DeAndre Hopkins, there's this thing going on tonight. Like, remember when people told me a week ago that DeAndre Hopkins was washed? I knew this was going to happen. DeAndre Hopkins has a really good game on Monday Night Football, and everybody says, oh, see, look, DeAndre Hopkins. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. The Bucs defense, it makes it incredibly easy for all these players. But it's such an indictment at this point. They can't stop anybody. They just cannot stop anybody right now whatsoever. And those two things right there just illustrate that point. But continue.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, and keep perusing Twitter, see if you get any other because I haven't heard anything from Baker's comments yet. So see if something comes up, let me know. TJC, why aggression of your opponent should not play in any decision not to go for it. I'm not sure what he's talking about there.
What was that? Where's that comment at?
He said, why aggression of your opponent should not play in any decision not to go for it. Did he say they were playing aggressively? I may have missed that.
I don't know.
Yeah. Todd Bowles can't manage games or seasons. Absolutely true. He says, TJC, and I quote, said, with the wet conditions, we felt we needed to go to OT. You just went 10 plays in 2 minutes for 70-plus yards. What the hell? Yeah. I mean, that makes no sense. I mean, clearly, I don't think it was even raining at that point, and they keep the balls really dry. They're pretty good at that. So that should not even play into it at all. The fact that did he not notice his defense was gassed? How do you not know that?
I just can't get over. I know we sound like a broken record, but I can't get over how the less riskier option was going to overtime against Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, on their field.
Exactly.
Perry Flowers, what's up? I was always taught you play for the win when on the road. Absolutely. Ryan, what's up, buddy? It's Otten, Bucky, White in the flat, Baker, quarterback draw, so many options, 2 yards to win a game. Can't wait until Bowles decides to retire in 10 weeks. Yeah, I think that might be a highly
yeah. And by the way, I hate that. Like every time, it feels like every time the Bucs lose a game, there's a large part of the fan base who immediately goes to you got to fire Todd Bowles. I'm done with him.
Yeah,
granted, I came on the show today all fired up and I said the same thing. I'm done with this. I'm over it. But at the same time, again, JP, like everybody's a passionate fan that follows this team. And you're playing the best team in the NFL, 3-time Super Bowl champions, and the game is right there. It's right there in front of you. You did everything you could to tie that game, and just a coward coaching call didn't even give you a chance to even try to win it. It's like Todd Bowles typically, I feel like, does this to himself. He opens himself up to that criticism.
Yes. I think he's afraid to make a bold decision. You can go back to in other words, decisions that he always thinks about I think he thinks about what he's going to get criticized for, right? And then makes a decision based on that, which is the worst way to make a decision. Well, I don't want to pull my starters if we're only down 10 with 1:05 to go here against the Ravens because they're still, we're 70 yards from the end zone and we have no timeouts because people will think, oh, I gave up like I did in Detroit when I didn't make them snap the ball another time and use my timeout. I think that's kind of going through his head. Like, no, the game's over. Get him the hell out of the game. Get him out of the game. I think he thinks the safer decision is like, I won't get criticized if I keep my guys in the game. Well, yeah, you will. Somebody gets hurt. It would be a bold decision to go for 2. So I don't want to do anything bold. I want to go by the book, and just blame it on the players if it doesn't happen.
No. And again, I need somebody to tell
cowardly.
me without this sounding completely disrespectful. And I know when people say that, usually something disrespectful is coming. The Buccaneers defense, again, after tonight, how many total? I'm looking at how many total yards did the Chiefs have tonight? They had 384 yards. The Chiefs did. The Bucs entered this game allowing 377.8 yards a game. So that's going to go up. Okay, that's 20. That's 28th in the NFL. That's 28th in the NFL. In terms of points given up this year, they are 28th as well. Okay. And now if you add on 30 to 135, they've given up 165 points in the last 5 games. So the defense is not good. It's taken many steps back this year. He runs that unit exclusively. And then he does stuff like this, where I would call it his quote unquote head coaching duties, where he's very subpar in. And I come back to that question. What value is Todd Bowles, positive value is Todd Bowles bringing you right now? What positive value is he bringing you? That sounds really harsh. I get it. But I think it's a real question to ask right now in this moment.
I agree. Here's some Baker sound that Jenna Lane posted from ESPN. Let's see if you can hear it.
It's a team like that. It comes down to little things. Everybody has a hand in this one. I think for the half, penalties and not completing the ball, a couple of easy throws on that last drive for halftime, but really giving away 3 points. When you look at it against a team like this, that's the difference. So, just disappointing overall, but a bright spot. And it's against a team on the offense like that. Like it's you can only give them so many chances. So, coin toss, that's what happens. But then, I'm proud of all the guys we had on offense that stepped up, and Todd had a good message. We're that close, and don't get used to losing, but just turn this thing around, and got a home game next week against an NFC opponent, and got to find a way to win. That's it. It's a team like that. It comes down.
So Bowles said, "We're that close. Don't get used to losing." We're that close. Wow. And did you hear what Baker said? You can't give a team like that many chances. That was his way of saying we should have gone for 2. Am I wrong? Am I reading that incorrectly?
Listen, the Bucs pulled off the miracle of the night by getting 2 back-to-back stops late in that game, because when the Bucs go 3 and out, when they got the ball back with 3 minutes or something like that, I think we all figured, okay, the Bucs are not touching the ball for the rest of the night. Give the defense credit. They make a quick stop. Bucs get the ball back. But then the other part of this equation, which I'm not sure if you hit on earlier, was the timeout that he called
right
before the touchdown, which just seemed, again, bad process.
Panic move.
Bad process. You leave too much time on the clock for Mahomes, but thankfully your defense makes another stop. So as far as I'm concerned, your defense is not good. They haven't played well. They've been on the field, but you know what? They made 2 stops when you absolutely needed it. Yep. Why try to go back to the well for a 3rd time?
Yep.
Why?
And it wasn't.
It's like we can complain about it. We can talk about it till we're blue in the face. It'll never make sense to me.
Richard Francis jumping in here. Thank you for jumping in. Said, I always felt you could tell a good coach when they have all 3 timeouts at the end of the game for the final drive. Absolutely.
That was the first thing I looked at. I looked at how many timeouts, and I'm like, oh, well, they got 3. Of course they do. Of course they do. They don't waste timeouts like Bowles does. Worst use of timeouts in football by far. I want to have all my timeouts gone. I want to have all my timeouts gone, preferably at halftime, and I want to have them all left at the end of the game.
Yes, absolutely. Michael LaRue says, your opponents like your guys too, Todd. Hello, Nathan Elliott. How are you, buddy? That was a tough one. AP, FSU finished 111. They will not beat Charleston Southern. Shut up, James. Charleston Southern's won 1 game.
I told you that this morning, and you said it was still on the table.
Oh, my God. Joe Biden just called this Bucs defense garbage. He called all of y'all garbage, by the way. James says, I'm sure Liam said, let's go for 2. This team needs to be 5-5 to have a chance. It should have been done tonight. You also had to beat the refs and the Chiefs. Refs cost us first Falcon game and tonight. Hard to argue. Michael LaRue says Baker Mayfield knew the game was over when the Bucs lost the coin toss. Well, he lost the coin toss, jerk, idiot. Bowles defense also gave up 4th and 10 to tie the game.
That was back in the he's talking about that Cleveland game, which you brought up. Which was
right.
A complete nightmare. Didn't call a timeout. Here it is. Didn't call a timeout. Read 20, 30 seconds off the clock. Brady hit a 30-yard pass, and Bowles called the timeout at midfield with like 10 seconds left. Yeah, we have unfortunately been down this road too many times over the last 3 years. How many games have the Bucs they've been so winnable? Like, it's crazy. Like they're basically a 500 team with Todd Bowles as their head coach, and it could easily be flipped in the other direction if not for these silly decisions. So I don't know. James Flash Ludeman here called the game didn't happen. Ideally would not have called a timeout with 30 seconds to go. Run it out until like 15, run a play before that, then go for 2. Todd Bowles just has no awareness.
And he's no awareness and just like no plan. Like, Andy Reid's going to run it to perfection,
Yeah,
Brady's going to run it.
Usually coaches have those answers long before they get down to that point.
Yeah. Todd has I don't think he has any confidence in himself to do that, to be quite honest. What else is here? He said Todd Bowles has a losing record as Bucs head coach now at 22-24. Is that including playoffs? It might be.
Well, he was 8-9 his first year. His second year, they were 9-8, and now they're 4-5.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Chris Arall says that the field conditions were so bad, why throw a touchdown pass to set up the tie? Bowles continues to coach scared. The field conditioning makes no sense. Makes no sense.
Did you see any impact of the field conditions all night?
Like I saw maybe a couple on that balls go through hands.
Like that one throw that Baker threw over the middle of the field to Cade looked like it came out a little high on him.
Yeah.
But like I don't recall anything else. Like there was nobody really like putting the ball on the ground. Like Kelsey, yeah, but that got knocked out. There was, for all the running that took place tonight, there was never anything like that either.
But in last drive, I mean, Baker's throwing freaking laser beams. He's throwing lasers. He's got a good grip on the ball. He's spinning it. Guys are catching it. You're on the march. You take it right down their throat. And I'm telling you, this is all you poll every one of those Kansas City Chief defenders. Do you think that they wanted them going for 2? Hell freaking no. Just like Andy Reid said, I'm glad they didn't. I mean, that tells you all you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. That one's hard to take. All right, we'll hit another break. When we come back, I want to hit a little bit of college football and some other stuff that's happening in the Tampa Bay region. I want to thank all of our sponsors, by the way, the Jeeves Law Group, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center, Italiano Insurance, get that flood insurance. The Golden Diamond Source, always a great place to get that engagement ring. If you're going to pop the question at Christmas like I did last year, Golden Diamond Source, the place to go. The Geddes Gordon Group for all your real estate needs. Our good friend Jane Geddes, your auntie. Extravaganza Productions, if you have any type of big event going on, small event as well, but you want the professionals to produce it for you, it's Extravaganza Productions. They're the best in the business. Very reasonable as well. Get that free creative meeting. Tell them JP sent you. Third Generation Plumbing. Great folks over there, especially for you. If you need AC now, they do AC and all types of repair work for your home. So if you've had some damage for the hurricane, call Third Generation Plumbing and AC. Their website is thirdgenerationplumbing.com. And, of course, the great folks at Rogers Park and Cafe Paradiso. My good friend Paulo, who is pissed right now. Paulo is a big Bucs fan, and he is pissed. Probably had a little bit too much red wine tonight watching the game, I bet, as well. And he's really pissed, as he should be.
I could use some red wine right now, for sure.
I know.
Even before bed. But I'm going to peace out. I'm going to try. I know I said I wouldn't sleep tonight, but realistically, I'm not built like that. I'm going to try to get some sleep tonight. I'm going to try to forget about this, and we'll be back on Thursday.
Bang your head against the wall like 5 times. That'll knock you out.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be back with y'all on Thursday as we're on to San Francisco.
We're on to San Francisco. Yes, we are. All right. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it. We will take a quick break here and come back on the other side to discuss some more business, some college football, some baseball news as well with the Rays. So stay with us. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man, Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. If you're feeling run down, your workout sucks, or your sexual libido is not what it used to be, check out Bay Area Modern Medical Center. That happened to me a few years ago, and I found out I had the testosterone level of a second-grade girl. That's not good. Our food, environment, and stress can cause your T levels to drop. Bay Area Modern Medical Center can help, and they are different. They offer customized hormone replacement for both men and women. Christopher Lugo and his medical staff can help you restore your energy, your sex drive, and your feelings of well-being. It was a total game changer for me. I have way more energy, lost 30 pounds, and I'm performing better in all areas of my life. Nobody wants to talk about sexual health, but it's key to a balanced life. We offer discreet treatments with real-world results. So if you're suffering from a lack of interest in sex, ED, or lack of sexual stamina, Dr. Lugo and his staff can help. Take your health care to the next level at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here to ask the question, are you planning an event, meeting, or conference? If so, you'll want to call the designers and production professionals at Extravaganza Productions Incorporated. With over 35 years of experience in the events industry, designing and producing every type of small to large event, they can provide a huge resource for design ideas, audio, visual, sound, lighting, decor, and entertainment to turn your event into an incredible experience for the entire audience. Folks, I've worked up close and personal with this group at many national events and Tampa events, and they have unique capabilities that help you save time and money in the planning and execution of your next event. Don't delay. Call these pros today at 813-621-4700 or check out their website at extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you, and they'll provide a free initial consultation for your event. Extravaganza Productions, the best in the business. Hey, if you love golf and the new Top Tracer virtual golf experiences that have taken the golf world by storm, well, you're going to love the new Top Tracer range at Rogers Park in Tampa. It combines the fun of competing virtually on the world's greatest courses like Pebble Beach or St. Andrews with an outdoor range experience to track your ball, not just hitting it to that net. I love it. They have great brand new spacious covered bays, huge fans blowing down. It's very enjoyable even when it's hot. So grab your golf buddies. Great price, $25 an hour up to $45 at peak times. Balls are included, and you can also play the new short course for just $9. It's all at rogersparkgolf.net. To reserve a bay, go to rogersparkgolf.net. I'll see you there.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, special edition post-game show here. We're not live if you're watching 10 to 12, as normally we are live. So that's why I'm not reading your comments, but you can still put them in there if you want. So we wanted to do a little post-game show tonight, get some immediate reaction. I'm glad we did, because this was a tough one to take. I will say this. I think everybody circled this as a loss on the schedule, but it wasn't. It didn't have to be. Obviously, it's an NFL game. This was an incredibly winnable game. They've had all of their losses, I think, except the one to Denver and the Ravens too, obviously. So those two were blowouts, but the two Atlanta games and this one, eminently winnable. Should definitely have at least one of them. So at this point, you would be 4-5 now. So you'd be 5-4 with a winnable game against the 49ers coming up. Now, I'm not sure. There's been word that McCaffrey is going to come back and play for this one. Obviously, I don't know if it makes that much difference, to be honestly. I think they're going to run the football either way on the Buccaneers. So, but how do you come back for this one at a short week? I just think this team is good enough. It's a shame that their head coach is just holding them back. I know it's getting a little bit repetitive, but all right, I wanted to I'm going to play this little soundbite here. I'm not sure if you're going to hear it very well. The audio is not great, but this is Andy Reid being asked about if he was surprised if Bowles went for two.
No. But I'm glad he didn't.
Yeah, but I'm glad he didn't. And everybody laughs. Everybody's laughing, except the Buccaneers and their fans today. No question about that. So another big story happened yesterday in Tampa Bay, one that's all too familiar to myself, as Jay Retcher, Zach Blobner, and John Momola, the program director at my former station, 620 WDAE, were let go. And the afternoon show is no more, replaced by, of all things, the Colin Cowherd Show, which is part of the iHeart family. I mean, come on. How about a nice college football in the South show? That'd be nice. You think, I mean, this is just such a terrible decision on so many levels. And this is a corporate decision, I was told by some people in the building. It's a corporate decision based on declining ratings. The ratings, they've been 18th and 19th in the ratings for years and years and years. They just, that rut. That's the overall ratings, not demos, but that's, to be the only sports station in a major market like this and to be 18th and 19th in the ratings is really not good. It's not good. If you look around the nation in the top markets, the sports stations are in the top 3 overall. The number 1 station is, for the most part, top 3 or 5. In some markets, they're the number 1 station overall. So being 18th or 19th in a sports heavy market like this is really incredible. But this thing has been run on the cheap for so long. They refuse to pay for talent. For the most part, they could bring in former players. They could bring in people that have been news anchors for 20 years, covering sports, columnists, any of that stuff. Guys like, they used to have a show with Rick and Tom, 2 highly paid columnists at the Tampa Bay Times. Cost cutting, see you later. Myself, number 3 in my demo, doing afternoon drive, getting ratings bonuses, you're fired. And one of the people that got fired today orchestrated my firing, so I won't have any tears for that particular person. But for Zach Blobner, who I think is incredibly talented and is a really, really hard worker, super smart guy, one of my favorite Gators in the world, feel bad for him. But these guys will land on their feet for sure. John Mamola's the guy who fired me, but he also was the guy that hired me. So he got that. He got a double-edged sword. They wanted to put the Ron and Ian show back together. Not sure that worked out very well. But anyway, in all of those changes that were made from the glory days of Chris Thomas and the Big Dog and some much better rated shows, the Ron and JP show for one. The ratings have tumbled. There's no question about that. But I don't even think it's about those guys, to be quite honest. To me, where the outrage comes is the fact that you now are paying 3 hosts at WDAE, none of which has been a former columnist, a former sports anchor, a former sports writer, or a current sports writer, as you see, or an athlete or an ex-coach, as you see all across markets this size everywhere. There's major talent being paid, and there's a lot of talent in this marketplace that live here that they just won't even think about paying. And a lot of it is the economics of iHeart too. The corporate part of it is what really, really sucks. That iHeart has ruined local radio, not only in sports with all their syndication crap, but also in music as well. Some of the great local talents that we used to have in morning shows, those are gone for syndication where they make way more money. And it's a shame. And most of this is corporate bullshit. And this is why what we do, we are not corporate media. And that's why we thank all these sponsors at the bottom. And I hope you visit them and you tell them, just send them a note on social media that you appreciate the fact that they support independent media. And, do they get crap sometimes? Yes, they do. But they support me because they think it's important that all voices be heard. And that's one of the great reasons you should visit a lot of these sponsors that we have, and we really appreciate them for doing so. So please send them a note. But when you're talking about corporate media, this is what you get. So they now have 3 hosts on the only sports station, a morning show and an afternoon show with Tom Krasnicki. The morning show I had heard was close to getting the chop as well. And that'll be the next one to go. They'll eventually get the one. I've heard the major plan is for them to merger with the iHeart affiliate in Orlando and combine the talents and have syndicated shows that way. So you can hear all about the Orlando Magic and the Orlando City, which, by the way, Orlando City will be coming to play in Raymond James Stadium. Another big win for Rob Higgins and the Tampa Sports Commission. They got the Florida-Georgia game. They landed the Savannah Bananas at Raymond James Stadium, their first NFL stadium. They were going to play the Trop. Now they're going to play at Raymond James. And now this, as Lionel Messi from Orlando City will be coming to play against Orlando City. The Messi of Miami will play against Orlando City in a preseason game. Now, there has been a preseason game, I was told, that Messi was supposed to play and didn't end up playing. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But a big win for Tampa Bay. They get that. So and it's just such a great market. And this is sad. This is really sad that we have one sports radio station in this market. Now we only have 2 local shows, and you put Colin Cowherd on, who talks NBA, Lakers nonstop, Cowboys nonstop, Jets nonstop, NBA. I mean, just stuff that this market is not interested in. He's a California dude, sellout. I mean, I used to love Colin Cowherd. Can't stand listening to him now. Dude's totally changed since he moved to the left coast. Shocking development. So this is not a great development for local sports folks. And J&Z were great local folks. They promoted the local stuff. They got out there. They did it the way it was supposed to be done. You may have issues with the show, what it sounded like. I'll just leave it at that. But they worked their ass off, and it was local. And that's what people want to hear, not Colin Cowherd. I don't know how a management can defend this move. They can't. And they consistently keep doing things that pisses off the people. And that's why we have this show. This is why we have great podcasts. The Pewter Report has great Bucks coverage in their podcasts. Joe Bucks fan, Ira Kaufman's podcast, absolutely fantastic. Jason Powers has a great local podcast. Spectrum Sports does a great job covering local sports. I don't want to miss any of the podcasts. I know I'm probably missing some. But I know those are the ones I listen to. Locked on Rays is another one. There's a lot of good local podcasts, and we're going to continue to build this network as well. We're looking to get more local shows on at the FanStream Sports Tampa Bay network. We just built a new studio in South Tampa, and we're going to add shows. We're going to add content with that. And by the way, BJ Daniels will be joining me in studio on Wednesday to talk about his book and his incredible life story. So he'll talk a lot of football too. We'll be going, he'll join me for the whole 2 hours on Wednesday, BJ Daniels. So you USF people jump on in, and we'll chat with him. So we'll be doing a lot of that because we have the studio now in South Tampa, very convenient for people to get to. So we hope to bring in lots of folks, and that's what we're doing to bring you the best local coverage that we possibly can. Our website is fanstreamsports.com. We're going to be launching a little bit more of FanStream Sports Tampa Bay. That's going to be a all-inclusive website, so you can get all your Rays news, your Bucks news, your college football news with all our teams, Lightning news, obviously, and all that. So, that's what we're doing, and adding shows as well. So you'll be able to listen to local podcasts on a daily basis, topical basis, not like once every 3 days, every day, giving you more content. So if you like that, please like and subscribe to the JP Peterson Show on YouTube, at JP Peterson Show, my new Twitter, and our YouTube page, JP Peterson Show, and FanStream Sports. That's all one company. So sorry to those guys who got canned close to Christmas. Same thing happened to me late November. November is the time they do it at iHeart, by the way. That's when all the chopping block comes out. So if you make it through November, you're doing okay. But again, it's a shame that we only have 2 local shows. But if you need some local coverage in the midday, we're here live 10 to 12 every day. And after we're done at 12, it immediately becomes a podcast. So you can listen to it anytime. If you want to listen to it in the noon to 3 or afternoon drive, whenever you want to listen at night when you get home, or go back and archive. We had Sal Paolantonio on today, who gave us a great information on the Chiefs and the Buccaneers and the rest of the NFL. Some really, really good stuff. You can go back and listen to that. It's always archived in our podcasts and also on YouTube. So sad day for those guys. Sad day for sports radio in this marketplace. Man, do you remember what 620 WDAE used to be, the sports animal? Man, that thing they used to do like 6 to 8 million in revenue. I think they're doing maybe 2, maybe. I mean, this city is so ripe for a second sports station, which I try to get going, but just not any. By the way, if you're a big money guy out there, you got some extra, you want to get into the sports business, come talk to me. We'll build a second radio station, or actually not a radio station, an internet radio station. We don't want to deal with all that BS and have to fill it with 24 minutes of commercial every hour, which is what they have to do over DAE. Who's listening to that? Nobody. They used to tell me, hey, you got to tease better. I'm like, I could tease I'm going to pay everybody $1,000 when we come back. I ain't sitting through 8 minutes of commercials and weather reports and traffic reports they don't need. No, they're not doing it. I feel sorry for the host. I mean, how you gonna keep an audience, for God's sakes? Come back tomorrow for the next set. Not working. So anyway, enough of that. A couple other notes. The Lightning at St. Louis tonight. I believe that's an 8 o'clock puck drop. I have not heard anything on Braden Point's injury situation. He left the game in Winnipeg the other night. The first period, did not come back to play. So we're a little bit concerned about that. All right, that'll do it for this show, folks. Thanks you guys so much for jumping in and commenting. We appreciate that. We'll see what Todd Bowles has to say in his Tuesday afternoon presser. I don't know. I'd probably be in the afternoon sometime. We'll have that for you on Wednesday. Once again, programming note, BJ Daniels will be co-hosting with me, former USF quarterback, beat FSU back in, what was that, 2012, I believe it was. Super Bowl champion with the Seahawks. So got lots of great stories to tell. So we'll do that on Wednesday. Thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you on Wednesday. As I look for the closing slate.